Morning. What's going on? Are you having a good Tuesday? Whatever you're up to. Are you on your way to work? Are you at college? Are you at uni? If you're in a different time zone, is it later? Is it earlier? Talk to me. What's going on? United, I think, are going to be in for an absolutely bonkers couple of days. We've got Anthony currently doing his medical at Manchester United. We've got Dubravka expected to begin his medical very soon. And there's still rumblings of Manchester United trying to be in the mix for more than one player. If we end up having a striker coming in and a fullback coming in, I think we can call it one of the best windows that we've seen at the moment. This is a madness. This is an absolute madness. This potential deal that's on the cards here. So let's talk about Osimhen. So Victor Osimhen is a potential top target for United, is what's being said by Pletigol. United see a lot of quality and development potential in him. There are no negotiations with him at this stage. That's what Pletigol are saying. Martino Di Napoli are saying Jorge Mendes, Ronaldo's agent, has offered Ronaldo to Napoli on a loan deal, and Osimhen would not be involved in that deal. And then Marcotti are saying that CR7 and Osimhen deal is reportedly that the latter moves to United for 130 million euros, which would take our spending into the absolutely bonkers levels if we did that, and Cristiano to Napoli, with United paying 85% of his wages, which is somewhere in the region still of around about 400 grand a week. What? So, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying those particular set of circumstances. They're crazy. If we actually go with that, that's genuinely crazy. Now, there was another report, which I'm just trying to find, which is that CDS are saying Napoli are willing to send Victor Osimhen on loan to Manchester United as long as there is an obligation to buy him for 100 million and they get Cristiano on loan in return. A loan swap. That's a crazy one, isn't it? That feels illegal to do. So Calcio DeMarco also saying like Jorge Mendes is proposing a straight loan swap deal. Now, when there's this many different outlets that have all got a different version of essentially the same thing, I genuinely believe they are trying to get Ronaldo to Napoli. I also generally believe that what they think is a move that they could make is bringing Osimhen to United. Now, crazy as it is, as we get closer to deadline day, there's going to be like a bit of a bell curve in this where the probabilities of this happening get to the highest they will be and then it will quickly fall off. And it's gone from nothing, I would say, in the last 48 hours to it feels like it's starting to become likely, looking at the number of reports. I think this time tomorrow, we will have a rough idea of whether or not this is feasible or not. Now, for me, the stumbling blocks on this one are, I think that the fee is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Almost unjustifiable. Especially when you've just spent roughly 100 million on euros. But that also means Napoli can kind of justify how much they're asking for based on what Osimhen's done. So you can't really get out of that one. The fee is going to end up being the fee. I think paying 85% of his wages is wild. And I don't know how anyone at United could justify doing that. So that would be a stumbling block for me as well. On the positive side, let's try and look at this from a logical point of view. Okay, so there's the negatives that I see being an issue with that one. And the other negative is we have no idea if... we have zero idea whatsoever if there's going to be any sort of interest from Osimhen to come to United. We have no idea that. So if you look at the positives that we can work out, what could make this happen? So the things that go in the fate, not necessarily a positive depending on the way you think about it, but in terms of like the factors that could enable this transfer to happen. One, Ronaldo definitely wants out, right? Regardless of what he's coming and saying, he definitely wants out. I'm not believing anything other than that. Two, Jorge Mendes is really pushing for this. And, You've also got to factor in that if you play ball with Jorge Mendes, you might get access to the rest of the cookie jar. So if you're Napoli and you go, yeah, we'll take him, what else have you got? You want to try and get in favour with the likes of Jorge Mendes. These super agents wield a lot of power. They can make or break transfer windows for you. You know, if you get on his side, you might get an early warning about the next big player that's coming along. The other positive that I could see this happening with is Erik ten Hag clearly doesn't like Ronaldo or fancy Ronaldo, which means that I think that there's a very real chance that United will let Ronaldo go. And when you look at the makeup of our squad, you go, right, we probably do need to bring in a forward. So as much as I don't like that an agent has cooked this up, you go there and we get this guy back, as much as I don't like that, I do not think it's impossible that this deal happens. I think that this is a deal that multiple people are trying to work into happening, and I think that's a very interesting one. Killer says, do I really see Ronaldo playing in the team if he decides? Do I really want to see Ronaldo in the team if he decides to stay in Manchester? Well, this is the thing. Cristiano Ronaldo, with who he is and the circumstances that surround what he's all about as a player and everything else that's going on with him at the moment, he hasn't been impressive in a United shirt under Ten Hag. That's not to say that he couldn't be impressive under Ten Hag or he couldn't learn. If he stays, I would expect him to work hard. I would. But I don't think he wants to stay. So I think that there's probably going to be some things that happen, moves that get made, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. We'll have to see what goes on with that. And I honestly think the next 24 hours will be absolutely critical in terms of how that one goes. Next up then, Aubameyang. I'm sure we've all watched All or Nothing by now, right? I don't think he came across well in that in the slightest. So apparently him and his wife were assaulted after 4 men broke into his property in the early hours of Monday morning. That's not good, and obviously don't support that in any sort of way. Chelsea have made an approach to him for 15 million. 17 million euros, 18 million euros earlier this month, but they've not managed to reach an agreement with Barcelona or on personal terms with the player. So there's a question mark over the value of the proposed deal with Aubameyang. And he is 33, and he is going to expect a high salary. Apparently Chelsea want to include performance incentives. United have apparently been keeping tabs on Aubameyang along with Memphis Depay. I'm not sure the style of forward that United are looking for make a lot of sense with either Depay or with Aubameyang. And neither of them really make a lot of sense in terms of buying them for me. If we're linked with these three, if this is the 3 strikers that we're talking about, and it looks like it is, it seems like for all like Gakpo thought he was still coming to United, I actually think that is well off at the moment, looking at some of the reports. If it was a choice between going for Osimhen, Depay and Aubameyang, I would put them in that order. I would take Osimhen first, probably Depay second, and Aubameyang a third, and a long way behind Depay, and I really don't want Depay. So I'm not sure the value of bringing Aubameyang into United. If we're going for a fresh approach and we want fresh attitudes and this, that and the other, how anybody who watched that All or Nothing can think, yeah, that's what I want to bring to my club, that. I don't know how you would. On Memphis, there was tweeting earlier going on saying that Memphis Depay may leave Barcelona in the next few hours. I don't know if that's in relation to him leaving the football club in the next few hours, or if he's literally getting on a plane to come to Donny van der Beek's wedding. It seems like a lot of people have been caught up in the people are travelling to London to blah-de-blah-de-blah. They're travelling to London for a wedding, mate. Relax. According to Laurie Whitwell, who definitely needs to up his game, he says that United are keeping tabs on both Aubameyang and Memphis Depay. So it seems like going into the final 48 hours or so of the window, United definitely seem to be trying to make some moves in a forward area, which makes me believe that United might have resigned ourselves to allowing Cristiano Ronaldo to leave. Now it's just a case of what's the details about how he leaves. It sounds like a loan, doesn't sound like a transfer. It does sound like it will be a loan, and if it's just a loan, then it's going to be what percentage do the third-party club pay in terms of wages, and I think that can get resolved quite quickly. The other transfer, which is a very interesting one, I did say the other day, I still think there's going to be some news about a right-back. Sergiño Dest has popped up. Supposedly his preferred destination is Manchester United, but apparently it's difficult because United need to sell players first. So I'm not sure who the obvious ones on the chopping block are for that. It might literally just be Wan-Bissaka. I think we're in for a busy 48 hours. I actually think there's going to be several in and several out over the next 48 hours. Fergal says the range in this window mean we're getting wiser, old heads and young potential with ranges in price from 3 to 100 million or even a loan to cover. It's different, isn't it? It looks like we're using all the tools at us. The chef says Osimhen is so sick. King Israel says Dest would be great. I think Dest's a good player. Excuse me. Husi says Wan-Bissaka, bye-bye. English lad says, don't know why we didn't go for Tammy Abraham. I think the pure money involved is why we didn't go for Tammy Abraham. Andrew says Ronaldo is going to Napoli. Napoli can't pay Victor and Ronnie, so do the maths, guys. The difference is there, though, is United agreeing up front at least to any sort of a deal that commits us to paying 100 million for someone. There has to be a way that you get out of that. There's no way that United can just take that with an obligation. That's crazy. What's my thoughts on Osimhen? I think he would definitely... Hence why I just said that I think out of the three players we're linked with, Osimhen is probably the top of that list comfortably by a long way. Ion says if we sign another right back, does the low get dropped? 100%. Jacob says, no matter who we sign, love United at the Glazers. Of course. Yeah, I don't want opposition fans to be like, if we bring Osimhen with an obligation to spend 100 million on, that takes our spending this summer to like 50 million, something like that. I don't want to hear any opposition fans saying, oh, look what they've spent. They've spent fucking nothing, lads, right? Until the transfer spend exceeds by far the amount of debt that's been rinsed out of the club, I don't want to fucking hear it. Fuck the Glazers and fuck them lot as well. It's what we need. Oh, and by the way, just in case anyone forgets, fuck Graham Souness. Are we no longer good enough for Ronaldo? I actually think, at least in Ten Hag's mind, Ten Hag thinks Ronaldo is no longer good enough for United, or he's no longer got the attributes that he wants his number 9 to have. And I think the evidence of that is right in front of your face. Quizzy says Dest is crap. Okay. Neil says looks like Ralph got his wish. 7 it is now. Nearly there. Nearly got 10. Jasper says I thought Ten Hag would have wanted to use Ronaldo like he did with Haller last season. That's what I thought. When I looked at what Haller was doing, I thought, I think Ronaldo can do that. Ten Hag maybe feels different. Unless he thinks, a different league needed a quite different thingy. Notch says, I don't trust the money being spent not being offset next summer. Agreed. And maybe there's something in the ownership change then, if that's the case. They're thinking, can we put some money into the club? The money, the transfers that we've spent, the contracts then go on the book as assets. And the share price will probably rise on a little bit of good performance, almost like what we've been saying for years and years. Like, if you actually spend money and win stuff, the club's even worth more. Okay, good businessman, my ass. And I think if you've got all of those things going in the club's favour, the price rises, and it might be the right time to sell for the Glazers. So that might be a positive on every front. Like, they've actually allowed some money to be spent on players in preparation for them leaving. That'd be brilliant. Ari says, honestly don't know enough about Osimhen. Would rather go for proven Prem talent. Would love Tony, similar to the Saha buy in 04. I don't necessarily think buying from abroad is a negative. I understand what you mean about proven Prem talent, and there is always a risk, but there's a risk for buying in the Premier League. I would say you probably have more successful buys from the Premier League, but you also have the people like Louis Zaha that you buy from the Premier League, and it just never works out for you. So I don't think there's a guarantee with any transfer. Justin Lloyd's just deleted his message, the shitbag. He says, your beard look like it stinks. Don't project your poor hygiene on me, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Your beard might stink, but mine smells delicious. Brian says, Ronaldo was poor when he came on at the weekend. I agree with that. Gave the ball away when we were countering and got outdone for pace. He looks like he's not at the same sort of mental wavelength as the rest of the team, doesn't he, at the moment? It's a very interesting one. Billy says, Slippy G, next sacking. Him or Lampard have got to be very close to it, haven't they? But I think Brendan Rodgers could go as well, to be honest. I do think Brendan Rodgers could go as well. Abhinav says, Ten Hag to kidnap Frankie at Donny's wedding. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a loan deal for Frankie de Jong on the cards as well, to be honest with you. Before we get off, I want to know, Aubameyang, yes or no? Hit me in the comments. Yes or no, Aubameyang, talk to me. Go. I want to know what you lot are saying. Kelvin says, Obama, hell no. Osimhen could be another Zaha. Anyone, Anthony could be. Do you know what I mean? We have no idea. Irwa says, nope. Alif says, fried rice is nice. Thanks for your opinions. Any news on Ghana? Nothing. Poch to one of those clubs. That's not a bad idea, actually. Salah wasn't Premier League proven. This is true. I think forwards can come back from Lukaku being the obvious one that's going to book the trend on that one there. But I think going to Italy and learning your trade over there is not necessarily a bad thing. There's not many yeses. No Aubameyang. There's not many yeses for Aubameyang. Okay, that's interesting. Right, what about Memphis Depay, yes or no? Memphis yes or Memphis no? Seeing as though, like, I think he might divide opinion a little bit more, I would think. Any tips on moving to uni next month? Yeah, go out every single night for the first month. Make some mates and have a laugh. How bad was the Hannibal announcement? There's people trying to tweet me saying, you know, it's because of the Silence of the Lambs film. Yes, of course I know this. The Memphis ones look like a little bit. Yes, it's literally, I'm going to say this is almost 50-50 with Memphis here. Memphis looks like it's very, very 50-50. Okay, so it's Obama no. It's Memphis 50-50. Okay, let's let all these get through, and then we'll say, right then, Osimhen, yes or no? Osimhen, yes, or Osimhen, no? What's the thoughts on Osimhen, no? And these are all kind of getting mixed up, so please put Osimhen, yes, or Osimhen, no, rather than just yes or no, because I think these are all getting mixed up with each other at the moment. We've got, Afil says Memphis, yes. Memphis, hell no, says Ruben. Rather Memphis, a lot of yeses. Actually, yeah, they've seen a lot of difference. All right, like the video. While you're doing nothing, set of lunatics. Once you've commented, hit like. And also, there is a new Patreon Q&A coming out a little bit later on. I will drop the message for all of the questions. So if you want to get your questions and you want to support the channel, hit the Patreon link in the description. Or if you want to support the channel, it's exactly the same level of benefits and content and stuff like that. There is our trip to London last week. It's currently out on there. If you want to go and check that out, then hit the join button. You get the exact same content as Patreon. It's just two options to be able to support the channel. If you're interested in either of those, check Patreon or come and join the memberships. I will post the questions right now on Patreon, so come and get your questions in on Patreon and I'll answer them later on today. But cheers for tuning in. I think we've got another video coming out later. Let me just check on what it is. I think it is a scout report, but I think the way today's going, I might end up doing one on Osimhen and possibly even on Dest as well. So stay tuned. If you want to support the channel, like I said, link in the description or hit the join button. And I'll see you crazy cats in the next one. Laters.